Hi, everybody. Welcome today to another edition of our podcast, the Bruce Singer Podcast. I'm here with a very special guest, Frank Stronach. Thank you for joining me today. It's a pleasure meeting you. And Frank is doing some really interesting things, and he's going to talk about it. What he's doing is passion for organics, health, and what he's up to in his latest venture. And we're here at his restaurant, Frank's Organic Garden in Aurora. And I just had a great meal. Chicken curry. It was wonderful. Thank you, Frank. And I feel healthy.
You're welcome. Yeah.
It was great, really. The soup, everything's fantastic. So if you want to have a great meal that's super healthy, get your butt out to Aurora. And everything is just fantastic. And I really appreciate she's been a gracious host. And I thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So tell us what's going on? What's happening? Are you motivated to get into this and share with the audience about your vision?
Well, let's start. Maybe it's always priorities, right?
Yeah.
And I've always said, if the economy doesn't work, nothing else will work. We cannot feed the hungry, and we cannot look after the most fragile ones. That's our elderly people, right? So what we have to do that the economy works well, we have to understand that the economy is driven by three forces: smart managers, hardworking employees, and investors. So basically all three have a right to the outcome, which is profits. So the great problem we have is that workers don't share in wealth creation. That's the dilemma. So the divide is getting bigger and bigger. So what are we going to do about it? Well, in other words, to be more practical, the capitalistic system is really self-destroying because more and more capital is held by fewer and fewer. Okay, unless the capital is spread, unless workers can participate, the capitalistic system doesn't work, right? Because in nature, when a species does not reproduce itself, another species will take over. So we have to understand that. And the laws of nature, they're much stronger than any man-made law. But so that's one thing. So we got to talk about the economy, but we cannot cover everything today. But the reason, I guess I invited you here to taste our organic food. And so I have a great concern about the foods that people consume, and especially the young people, the kids, right? And I've gone very heavily into agriculture about 12 years ago. And, when we are younger, we all hustle a bit to make some monies. And when you get older, sometimes you lean back and ask yourself, what's life all about? And so I've been very blessed with good health and a good mind. And but I've always said at the same time, if the stars are not aligned, it doesn't matter how smart you are, it won't work, right? So I've been lucky to a certain extent. And so my commitment is, I want to leave a legacy that I maybe triggered something which is of utmost importance to life, to families. Namely, do we do as grown-ups, do we do everything possible that our kids grow up healthy and happy? I don't think we do. Since I got very heavily into agriculture, about over 10 years ago, I started to notice an enormous chemical jungle out there. When you look at industrial farms, you don't see no more eagles fly. Why? Because there's no more rabbits there. There's no more pheasants there. We spray everything. We poison everything. Okay? And we are just about in wiping out the bee population. That will be a great catastrophic problem. There's bees for pollination, it's very important. So anyway, so in essence, I want to get across that no Canadian kid should go to school hungry. That means in schools, we have to serve breakfast. Secondly, no Canadian kid should ever leave school hungry. That means we got to serve lunch. And it would be very important that lunch we serve is organic. Okay, because people have no idea how many chemicals they consume, right? So furthermore, I would like to see that we get kids more familiar with nature That means I like to see the curriculums being changed in school. Let's say students from grade 1 to grade 6 should have at least a half a day where we teach them how to grow foods. And kids from grade 7 to grade 12, they should have a full day a week where we teach them how to grow foods. Here in Canada, we have severe winters. In the wintertime, it would have to be in greenhouses, and in the summertime, in summer gardens. But it's possible to do. I'm just finishing a prototype agricultural educational center where we can prove that and should be a role model for school boards, right? So that would be very important to that our kids, that we feed them organic food. And I've created a not-for-profit foundation. It's called the GUHAH Foundation. GUHAH means growing up healthy and happy. Okay? So I'd like to see that down the road, every family is a member of the GUHAH Foundation, right? And thereby, I think we could bring about what's important to our young people, our kids. So anyway, those are two areas to get the economy going and to make sure that our kids grow up healthy. Those are the areas I focus very deeply on it.
Okay, so the GUHAH, what steps have we taken to make it happen now? Your vision.
The GUHAH, it's the world is always driven by groups which have influence, right? And so we just gotta get to convince a lot of people. When I speak with people, it doesn't take long, right? After 1 minute, so why didn't we do it before, right? Because it's so obvious, right? That I think when a woman and a man get married, they pray, gee, let's hope kids grow up healthy, right? And usually they take great concerns, especially the woman, what they eat, etc. So they give it the best nourishment or a chance that kids could grow up healthy. But we are not, once when they're there, I don't think we search our mind. We don't do enough. Matter of fact, I think we're grossly negligent.
We are.
Okay, so I just want to bring that about. And so what I'm trying to do is to create a lobbying thing there, right? Okay, there are a lot of lobbying groups out there. Most of them you don't hear much, I don't see much, but I think governments are very influenced by those lobbying groups, right? For instance, what do we leave behind to our young kids? Our interest payment on the debt we have is already about $50 billion a year. Who's getting those monies? Okay, so what do we leave our kids behind? A huge amount of debt and a screwed up environment. So I think it's high time that we think about it, and we got to say to ourselves what we're gonna do, and every person's got to ask himself, can I make a contribution, or can I be part of a foundation or a movement organization? So I think those are the things here. I guess in isolation, or people with singular minds, so great minds, you can't do it. You need where people band together and say, those things are very important to us, and thereby we focus on it. And I think nobody, when it comes down, could question or be against it, that kids should eat organic foods. The most well-known doctor, right, or maybe one of the original well-known doctors, Hippocrates, his saying was always, let food be your medicine and medicine your food. And we should be guided by that, right? It just happens we engaged in a study with New York University, right? Because I have a facility in Aurora, which whatever's on the menu in the restaurant, you can buy in the supermarket raw or semi-cooked or finished cooked. But everything is organic. Okay, so we work together with the university. We have about 300 students which volunteer to participate on a program where we can demonstrate that if you eat organic, you be healthier and you live longer.
I get it. I get it. I get it. You were sharing a very interesting, when we talked about lunch, you were sharing something about during COVID, some statistics, which I found, which don't get, the people die from COVID, but yet from greenhouse gases.
Yeah.
Can we just share
Yeah,
that?
sure. Yeah,
That blew my mind.
there's a statistical this data, right, which in 2020, the COVID the COVID virus killed about 4 million people, right, worldwide. But the same study came to the conclusion that greenhouse gases killed over 8 million people, and we don't say much about it, right? Double the amount, right? So we have problems.
It's good. So share about your vision for Frank's Organic Market.
Well, Frank's,
you want to expand it and share, and your vision is to grow it. And
first of all, to prove that we can grow organic foods. Okay, you got to be more innovative. You have to be. You can't do it in large quantities. So industrial farms are not too suitable to grow organic foods because, if you have 200 or 300 acres of beets and another, so nature has a way of balancing itself out or heal itself, right? So organic foods, farmers have make good experience if they grow a lot of diversity, right? Mm-hmm. And that sort of will balance out, call it when nature has different insects or viruses, right? So by having biodiversity, and growing different foods in the same areas, they cross-fertilize themselves.
Interesting. And how did the Frank's Organic Market? Getting back to that, so how does it play in, like your vision to, like you mentioned, you want to have like around North America, have a lot of locations.
Well, in Magna, look, Magna reached a size with 170,000 employees, wow. And we had about 430 factories worldwide, right? Mm-hmm. And those factories are very large and very things. So it's a lot. I'm duplicating what I do in the food industry, what I've done for Magna, right? And have smaller supermarkets with restaurants where we focus on the organic food and try to demonstrate via data, right? Where we work together with the universities. Like if you focus and if you eat organically, you have less problems.
100%.
And but again, I earlier said it's smaller farms which are mainly do organic, grow organic foods, and I said family farms were always the backbone of a country, and it's very sad, right? More and more family farmers going to go out of business because they're practically on welfare, and kids of farmers would say, "Dad or Mother, I can't be in the farming because I don't want to be on welfare." So we got to take a look. We should have an agricultural policy. What do we do about the food industry, right, in Canada?
So just one last question. So how do we reverse? So that's how we reverse that trend. Get back to family farming. Get more family to reverse that trend.
Yes, first of all, to grow food is a noble thing to do, right? Yeah. And I think if we get into it, I think we got to make it interesting enough. And we got to make it so you can make a living, right? So that the kids of farmers will stay on the farm, right? When our case, I would hate to see if industrial farms buy up all the family farms. I think we need a trust which would accumulate a Canadian trust, the family farm trust, where the government or the people of Canada would own it, and they should be made available to people which are seriously thinking to go into organic farming. And because right now there wouldn't be enough soil, right, where we could grow organic food. So we gotta get back. We gotta, if the simple fact is we know something, if you got a problem, you should know why you got a problem. Then you got to do something about it.
Exactly.
The problem is we don't encourage family farming. The problem is we don't encourage organic farming. That's a problem. That means we haven't got the best food. Wow. Yeah, so we got to do something about it. So hopefully the things I do will provoke the minds and inspire young people, and hopefully politicians will listen that we got to do something about it.
Well, Frank, thank you first of all, thank you for making the difference.
All right.
And thank you for doing this podcast. I really appreciate it.
Okay.
And thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody. Is there a way if people want to get involved, there's something they can do, like if people want to get involved?
Yeah, I think we are just launching a website. I think here's the GUHAH. Can you, there's my assistant here. Can you speak into things so we can hear it clearly?
Can you say with the website?
GUHAHway.com.
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 Okay. And you can contact me too. I have the information. You can contact me anytime.
Okay.
And I can help you. Frank, this is very insightful.
Okay,
Thank you so much,
All right,
everybody.
Okay.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day.
Okay.